Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. We'll do it live.
We'll
Did I
do
step
it
on your
live.
toes?
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
This is Stumbling Down History Road. Today we're going to be talking about minimum wage.
For some reason.
For minimum wage reasons.
For minimum reasons.
And we're going to be doing it at minimum wage. Actually,
I'm
we're doing
Jackson.
it for free.
This is all volunteer work. I'm Jackson.
I'm Garrett. Unless this goes horribly wrong, then I am canceled.
Yeah.
In which case, his name is actually Stefan.
Yeah.
Stefan's my name. You guys ever see the episode of fucking...
You waited until we were live to do this, didn't you?
Huh?
Yep, totally. So anyway, the episode of what now?
You guys ever see the episode of Family Matters where fucking Steve Urkel turns into Stefan?
That's like the whole final arc of the show, I think, because like it ends up like Stefan tries to get the girl, and like she's like, they become two separate people or some bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what's crazy? Because in real life, he is Stefan.
Oh shit, no, he's like He's
And
got his own weed brand.
That's what I heard.
Well, he's got his own weed brand now, but he does it in an Urkel character. It's purple Urkel weed. He did a whole like 5-minute video thing with Snoop Dogg for it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I bet they didn't do that for minimum wage. See the segue? Oh, shit. Rim job.
What is that a reference to? Whatever.
So,
So,
we're
minimum
on...
wage is
we
a
are on episode...
theoretical construct.
So we're on episode 22. 3 more episodes left before we do our full-on live stream, episode 25.
Yep.
Wait, does that count our too spicy episode now?
No,
Okay.
that's not
spicy?
included in the list.
Referring.
It's part of the lost episodes now.
Yeah.
The Lost Ark?
It's too,
The lost
just too
episodes.
spicy for YouTube.
But yeah, minimum wage. What does anybody know about minimum wage?
Well, can suppose.
Let's start off at the beginning.
The beginning at the beginning.
No, the most base of minimum wage, of what we know of it.
Based? Or
Oh my
base?
Completely based. Minimum wage is based.
So minimum wage is the based amount of money you can make.
It's the
when you
most
first-
based.
Make it a Christmas song. It's the most
based
basteful time of the year.
Anyway.
All right. And
So-
this is why Jackson dreads having us on. Okay. Minimum wage. Back
Minimum wage. Yeah.
So I believe the concept was started in England by a king, because it's usually who does shit in England, or a queen, because, we're progressive like that. Women can be in charge now.
Just not of America.
And later.
As of the current year in our Lord and Savior.
To be fair, though, we are
2023.
technically a heartbeat away, right, as of this moment, though. Well,
He's not in...
lack of heartbeat away.
Biden's not...
There
he's
have
not
been
on
worse.
death's door bed yet.
Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. All right. So, England. Guys started the minimum wage.
It was
Well, no. Technically, what ended up happening was in...
Oh, it's going to create such a havoc for him with the mic.
I mean, you could just...
Yeah.
With it.
That's my fucking rap name. Havoc on the mic.
So,
I've heard worse.
It's actually not terrible. It's
I
not
once-
my rap name.
I once
don't
knew
have
somebody who
one.
actively called himself DJ Dragon.
It's actually Skinny J. I'll let you guys fucking try and figure out what the J stands for. I'll just throw you one fucking hint. Happy Passover, family.
Ah, yes, the long-nosed tribe talking about money. Makes sense.
Oh shit! See the segue? Bam! Fucking Segway Kings. Let's do it.
So
No,
anyway,
we should get sponsored by Segway. All right. So can we get on topic so that we can get back?
I
off
love
the
the
topic?
little looks he gives when he gets annoyed. It's so much fun.
All right. So,
So
start
in
it
response
up.
to the Black Plague,
so King Edward III, response
Was it-
to the Black Plague.
was it King Edward III?
In 1347, the Black Plague started coming towards England, right?
Well,
Yes.
I believe
Yes.
it was the fault of the Black Cats.
It started, getting towards England. And so, as a response, people started dying, as you do when, there's this massive, plague that takes out about a third of the world.
We wouldn't know anything about massive plagues. No, we wouldn't.
Hey, that was starting in a factory. But
The same factory.
I thought it was because
that they were getting paid minimum
Stan's
wage
dad
at, which
had-
is why they let it go. Because they were getting only paid minimum wage. And they weren't happy.
so,
It's China. They weren't getting paid anything.
Oh shit! True story. All right, go.
fun fact, China
Social
technically
credit.
has a monthly minimum wage. It's very, very, very low, but they do technically have a monthly minimum wage. But yeah, King Edward III, in response to everybody dying, people started, because, serfdom needed to happen and people still needed to get paid and people still needed to work. They were like, you know what? Fuck this noise. I'm going to start charging more. If I'm going to be close to death because I got to work, I'm going to charge more. Supply and demand, right?
E.
And so he was like, fuck that shit. I want my cut. You guys have a maximum wage. And then that slowly started trickling into the parliament and, charters being like, you know what? We're going to have like a minimum wage that has to meet up with the cost of food in order to, do that. And that was in the 1600s, early 1600s. But minimum wage in and of itself as like a federal concept being controlled by an overarching federal government, full on like laws and shit, didn't actually start until New Zealand in 1894.
Those pesky
And then-
Kiwis.
And then afterwards, Australia, 2 years later,
Those
1896.
pesky criminals.
But America was trying to get minimum wage in the early 1900s.
It didn't, though, because America is the fucking best.
So yes and no. They had different things that were happening. Like there was a lot of unions going on that were effectively mandating pay for union workers and things of that nature. But that only really dealt with male adults. They didn't actually get the chance to, cover all of the workers, which is where we get this federal minimum wage coming about. But there was numerous riots, numerous protests, some in 1905, some in 1920s.
Let's start a riot.
Yes, lots of riots, lots and lots of
Start a
riots.
riot.
In 1923, 15 of the states actually tried to enact their own personal minimum wage. By 1923, 15 of them. But the U.S. Supreme Court, led by something with an L, Lando
Calrissian?
Yes, Lando Calrissian.
Fuck it, Lando Calrissian. He's
It's-
the one to blame for this.
It's canon now. Lando Calrissian said, and I quote, "Fuck them fools." So what ended up happening was,
First Han Solo, now this.
because Homeboy was in charge of the Supreme Court pretty much, he was like the head justice. It was like, let's see. No, this is unconstitutional. There's no such thing as a federal minimum wage. And so, yeah, that kind of happened. But
Although I think there is one now, technically.
yes, there is a 100% a federal minimum wage. In fact, there's actually a few states that are under the federal minimum wage. But,
Well, get wrecked,
Hope-
Lando Calrissian. Sorry.
right? But because it's written in such a way, it is mandated that it goes based off of the higher amount, which is why in states like New York, where we're at 15 for a minimum wage, we don't apply to the federal minimum wage of $7.25. So, states like Alabama and other ones are like, meh.
Sweet home Alabama.
But yeah, do you know who actually, basically spearheaded the standard for minimum wage?
Person?
Oh God, what was his name? It was an interesting name.
Oh, I was referring to President Wise.
Oh, I thought I was talking about the economist who helped set it for him. Because it was Mike Springer and something. It was an interesting name, but whatever. It'll come back.
And his brother Jerry Springer.
Jerry. By the way, if he wasn't, are they done?
I think they're still alive.
Did they retire?
I think they're still alive. They're definitely more alive than us.
Well, no, I know Jerry Springer's still alive.
I didn't say alive.
meant,
I
is
said
he-
live, like still doing things. I was referring to FDR.
Oh, Roosevelt. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
So in 1937, the Supreme Court was like, you know what? It can be legal. It's not unconstitutional. And so FDR,
Part of the New Deal.
no, it is labeled FLHS.
Or was it as part of the New Deal?
Wasn't that the guy before him? Yeah, the New Deal was the guy before FDR, I think.
Who?
Hoover? Was it
Who?
Hoover? I think it was Herbert Hoover.
I saw that. Damn.
The Hoover Dam?
Damn impressive.
Well, yeah, because the Hoover Dam was made, one, for electricity, and two, to give people jobs.
Yeah.
Just like the
To help pull them out of the depression.
just like the pencil over in there's a bunch of pencils just floating around because they were just done for
Yeah, they're monuments.
yeah.
Effectively, just to give people jobs.
Yeah. The so
Robert Moses.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the Robert Moses Causeway.
Yep.
So yeah, no, if you're on the island and you go down to
More specifically, Long Island, New York.
Long Island.
Long Island.
yeah, and you take Wantagh Parkway all the way to the end, it becomes like the Robert Moses, and then it ends at the at Point Lookout. Is it Point Lookout? No, Jones Beach. Yeah, Jones Beach.
What are we talking about? Robert Moses Causeway?
The pencil.
Yeah.
Point Lookout's the town one. Jones
Yes.
Beach is the state, the county one.
It's
It was FDR.
state.
It was FDR with the New Deal. Fucker.
But,
Anyway, but yeah, so it wasn't. I think it was like an indirect part of the New Deal.
Possibly. But yeah, he mandated a federal minimum wage in order to help prevent against sweatshop and child labor nonsense, and to help the wham. But the first minimum wage,
Why would women need help when they should be in the kitchen? Aren't I?
the first minimum wage, was actually 25 cents. That's it.
25 whole cents?
Yeah,
That's
like
a lot of fucking money.
in 1938.
Yeah. Haven't you ever seen Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory? He finds $1 and buys like 6 candy bars or some shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of candy bars.
Yeah.
For a whole hour of my work, I could get 6 candy bars?
No,
That's
no, no.
crazy.
No, for 4 hours of work, you get 6 candy bars.
Wait, if it was 4 hours for a quarter?
No, it's. He found $1 and turned that into
So-
6 candy bars.
Oh.
So then, so
Golly
just
gee.
for a reference point, 25 cents in 1938, when this was enacted, is equivalent to $5.33 of buying power in today's money.
Inflation. It's a son of a bitch.
That's actually still not horrible. It's not great.
What, $5.33 right now?
For an, if I was to have $5.33, maybe not for an hour worth of my work, but just in general, that's still like a whole ass meal for McDonald's.
You can eat it for $5.
Maybe
I
you
mean-
can eat for $5, but I got a couple pounds on you, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, in
But see,
all
here's the
honesty, if you
difference.
go to
Can
say
you-
Little Caesars, you could get your family a meal for that.
But see, that's the thing. There's
No,
a
you can't.
difference between
It's a
eating.
$5 pizza.
There's eating.
It's $5.99 now.
Is it?
Yeah, but there's
really?
a difference between eating to fulfillment and then just eating, like, because you want to be a glutton.
Whoa!
When
You
the
know,
hell
like,
did they go
but-
to $5, $5.99?
That's what I'm saying.
Are you calling me a glutton?
I'm not you in general, but I'm just saying.
You ain't calling me a truther.
All right, so I stand corrected there. Wait, really? Drake and Josh?
Yeah.
Do we-
But yeah, as it stands out, as it turns out, stands out, I don't fucking know. Words.
Words don't hurt me, but sticks and stones will break those bones.
There is 21 of 27 of the European Union.
European.
European Union.
European. I'm a peon. He's not a peon.
I'm a dude.
Playing a dude
I'm a
disguised
dude.
as another dude.
No, he's a dude. She's a dude.
We're all dudes.
We're all
Well,
dudes.
dude, yeah.
Welcome
We're
to
all
Good Burger.
dudes.
Homo, the Good Burger man. Take your order.
Do you think
That's coming
they're...
out with number 2 soon.
I can't wait.
Are they really?
Uh huh.
It's gonna be
I think it's next
probably
year.
okay.
I like
It's
but-
definitely
I love when,
gonna be
yeah.
okay.
Sorry.
21 of the 27 European Union countries are enact a minimum wage. So that's kind of neat. We're, somewhat ahead of the ball game.
On at least one thing.
I mean, the EU does not include the non-EU countries. Do they have minimum wage?
I don't know. I know that Russia and China both have a not hourly, but a minimum per month.
So, like a standardized income almost?
Standardized minimum, I guess technically.
So you can only... Okay.
At some point, we will have to go over, minimum wage increases. As it turns out, we're gonna get a little political today,
Just a wee bit.
just a touch.
But,
You gonna touch me? Fucking creep.
no, I touch myself.
When I think about you.
That's the best part of Austin Powers.
Fucking.
He throws the cigarettes in all their mouths.
Oh, yeah.
He's stripping and shit, yeah. Their heads explode from getting too horny.
Machine gun giblies.
How did I miss those? How did I miss that?
It's called foreplay.
It's called And I love how it's just like, oh yeah, we knew the whole time. Like, what? Oh, that's second movie. Anyway.
Yeah. And then number 3 happened.
Number three was pretty
Not
good.
terrible.
It had its moments.
Would you believe me if I told you that there were only 4 presidents that didn't increase federal minimum wage?
I would believe you.
I would believe you.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of who they be, though.
Can you guess them? The ones that didn't?
Was JFK one of them?
No.
Huh.
No. He definitely did. He was all about the people.
He was
That
only
guy
there
did.
for like 6 months.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did not serve very long, did he?
No.
He
Poor
would
fella.
have had he had the chance.
Hypothalamusly.
Let's see. I'm gonna
Barack
go.
Correct. Barack is 1.
Was it Bush?
No.
Neither of them.
We did, right? People that did raise it?
No, that did not.
Did not. Oh, yeah, okay.
Barack is 1.
Wait, 4 didn't, and Barack was one of them. Wait, was it? Wait, did or didn't? I'm sorry.
Barack did not raise it.
Did not. No.
Huh.
We're at 1.
Thanks, Obama.
Let's see. So,
Trump?
Since 1938, right?
Trump.
Trump, yeah, he definitely didn't.
Well, it only started in 1938, so it's hard to, say like, oh, Lincoln didn't do it. In fact, if anything,
I'm just thinking,
Lincoln
like,
did some other shit.
who obviously, yeah, well, fucking Lincoln definitely didn't. Fucking bastard.
Fun
he
fact,
didn't
did
care
you know
about
hold
that
on,
shit.
hold on. I would argue that he did because he freed the slaves, and now they needed to get paid.
Yeah.
Wait. Fun fact: did you know that Lincoln actually fully intended to send them all to their own Caribbean country?
Uh-huh.
He's like, oh yeah, no, we're just all of you. If you want, just go down to your own country.
Bye.
He's like, oh wait, it's more popular if I don't do that. All right, you guys can stay.
But well, he was also kind of killed before he could,
We're at 2.
see where that.
2. We're 2 for 2 though.
Let's go with
He asked
Reagan.
about Reagan is 1. That's number 3.
That's 3.
Arrgh.
Oh yeah.
I'm having a jowl movement.
One of the Bushes.
Nope.
Both of the Bushes did.
Was it Lyndon B. Johnson?
No. He did a lot of other things.
Mike Eisner?
No.
It's probably somebody who only had 1 term. Because if somebody was there for 8 years, they're probably going to most likely raise
When's
it.
the last time somebody had 1 term?
Besides Trump?
That's what I'm saying. had-
JFK?
Ford Sr. But it's not him.
Oh,
Sorry, Bush Sr., but it's not him.
Clinton?
Wait, Bush
No,
Sr. was
Clinton
only
had
one
2 terms.
Yeah, oh, shit, I forgot about that. Oh, you would have gotten a second term if you actually went after Iraq, though. That's what they were saying, but whatever. Well,
But instead, we got Epic Sax Man.
Clinton sent all our jobs overseas, though.
I'm
did
not
a lot
saying
of
he was
other
good.
stuff.
What I'm saying is instead of Bush, we got Epic Sax Man.
Sex sax man.
I don't know.
The real trick is how he got it. Is how he got Monica Lewinsky to give him a blowjob.
I mean, did you see her?
Honestly,
Was
she's not the
your
worst looking.
girlfriend.
She wasn't the worst looking.
I mean, she was.
There was a joke by a comedian.
Best.
Fuck it, I'll say it. The real magic is that he was able to get a Jew to give him a blowjob.
Yeah.
I don't remember which comedian said that, but a comedian said that.
Ah, fuck. What was that, Bill Burr?
Williams?
No.
Robin Williams, maybe?
I
This
don't
is
know.
her now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
I won't put it
Dude,
up on
she
screen.
Wasn't.
She's not bad looking at all.
Dude, you want to know what's a weird fucking
Yo.
thing? Look up the chick who does Twilight. Look up Stephanie Meyer.
You guys still owe me one of the presidents.
I'm at a loss. I
I
did
don't
3.
know.
I'm at
Ford.
a loss. You said Ford.
I said Ford by accident, but you guys never guessed Ford.
Yeah,
Oh.
but we got fucking Ford. That guy was fucking alive.
But okay, so it was Ford,
Okay, those four.
Obama, Trump, and
Ford.
Reagan.
Yeah.
Reagan and Ford. Good.
Well, Reagan didn't serve. I think Reagan only served 2 years
No, Reagan served more than 2 years.
because he resigned because of Watergate.
Nixon was Watergate.
Oh fuck!
Reagan was 8.
I mixed them up in my head. I was mixing up Nixon and Reagan because when I guessed Reagan
Reaganomics, bro.
The Reaganomics.
and the fucking drug war. Thank you, Nancy.
Pelosi?
Nancy
Yeah,
Pelosi.
right.
No, Nancy Reagan.
Nancy Reagan.
But,
Although she was basically in charge the last couple of years with him.
She was based.
I mean,
'cause-
he was a Muppet. Let's be real.
Well, he was partially a Muppet because of the brain damage from getting fucking shot.
No.
Yeah, he because the guy, because he was
Trying to impress
what's her name from Taxi?
Jodie Foster.
Yeah, from a Taxi Driver. Yeah,
Taxi.
Taxi.
And Silence of the Lambs.
Well, Silence of the Lambs was later when she was.
This was post-haste, yes.
Yeah, that's
Still Jodie Foster, though.
Yep, she's a really good actress though.
Yeah.
But the guy,
Doesn't matter his name. As we were talking about,
Hinckley, that's his name. Hinckley, that was his name. Okay.
we were talking about minimum wage.
Murderer?
Attempted. He didn't actually kill anybody in that. He got Reagan, and then he got the other guy. And because the other guy, a lot of places adopted the 3-day wait period for guns.
Mm-hmm.
And background checks or some shit, too.
He
The
did?
the something act. I can't
What
think of
was
his
his
name.
first name?
Named off his act. It's named off because it's his name. It's the something act.
The Hinckley Act?
No. The guy who got shot. Hinckley was the guy who did the shooting.
Yeah, Hinckley shot the people.
Yeah, it was the guy who got shot because they make a joke about it in American Dad. Because
Son of Sam?
no. Although
John
I
Hinckley Jr.
although I do know a guy. His dad was a cop during Son of Sam, and he almost shot him because he was doing an undercover thing for carjackers, and he ran off when he attempted to confront them. Yeah, he drew on him, and then the guy, Son of Sam considered his options and then dipped instead. But yeah, the guy almost.
We spoke
shot
to
him.
somebody who, was involved loosely with Son of Sam, like, case nonsense thing.
Well, we also know.
He was here. He was here.
Who?
I don't know his name.
Oh, that guy.
Well, we also know. We also kind of know somebody who was loosely involved with the Gilgo Beach thing. Rocks. He was part of the firefighter search effort for bodies. In fact, he was like one truck over from one of the guys who got. Like he was like just over the guy next to him. Found one of them.
Huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, minimum wage.
Anyway.
What do you think about it? What's your opinion on it? Because this is where the meat and potatoes is going to come from.
I mean, we kind of had some meat and potatoes going with other shit here, but yeah.
Yeah, but this is the real meat and potatoes that people are here for. They want our opinion because our opinion matters.
I thought we were supposed to be it wasn't our opinion, but it was our facts about bullshit things that are loosely related to the topic. Hence the stumbling down part.
Yes.
But in this case, we're going with opinions, eh?
Well, we did talk about facts. We talked about how it
Facts don't care
started.
about your feelings.
We talked about how it
okay.
started with King Edward III. We talked about how it was in Britain /
New
England.
Zealand.
And then it actually, first came about in New Zealand and then Australia, and then
Fucking
we
Kiwis.
got it. Yep. We talked about the riots that led up to it. We talked about the fact that it was mandated in order to actually help protect women and children, because
It's also in response to eugenics.
this is also
By the way, if you don't know what eugenics is, you're lucky.
this is also what started the 40-hour work week for everybody. It put into child labor laws, so this way you weren't allowed to start working in
currently repealing, apparently, because the children just yearn for the fucking mines. Have you even seen that shit in the news lately?
Look, they're called miners for a reason.
Children yearn for the mines.
They're called miners for a reason. It's in the name.
It's in the Navy.
You can sail the 7 seas.
Did you wait? Were you? Did you ever hear the thing about how when they did the whole music video? Like they got the ship from like the Navy. They did a whole music video on like one of their ships, and then the Navy found out that they were all gay as hell, and they fucking cut the whole thing, and like refused to try and let them put out the music video and shit. Like, oh man, you gotta love the was it 80s?
80s.
Yeah, some wild fucking times.
Yeah, the 80s were rough, man.
I mean, in terms of practicality, it should be a few bucks higher, I reckon, especially now with inflation going on.
What do you mean now that it's going on? It's been going on. 25 cents now equals $5.33.
Which isn't even a little fucking Caesar's pizza apparently anymore. Oh wait, no, to be fair,
To be fair.
it is now. You could get frozen pizza that tastes pretty much just as good, if not better, for that at Walmart. So that's not terrible, and you could feed.
Oh, so you want
a
to feed the
small
mega
family.
corporations? You want
A
to feed the
small
mega
family.
corporations? A small family of billionaires.
Oh, fuck the Waltons, yeah. But actually, you know what? Okay, I'll give them this. There are some actually pretty good policies that come out of Walmart that I appreciate. I used to work for them, and one of them was you get 7 minutes before and 7 minutes after to clock on. And it's once you're like over that 7 minutes, you're late, which is actually pretty good. Not a lot of places do that. A lot of places, once it hits, you're fucked. It's a whole ass point. Although they did change their point system, so now if you miss one day and don't call in by accident, you're fucking shot. And then if you're part-time for a year, they'll give you benefits.
This is Walmart?
Yeah. If you're even if you're part-time, after a whole year, they'll give you benefits. Not a lot of places do that either.
There's a study that's currently ongoing in Seattle regarding minimum wage and how it affects people. You want to hear about it?
I mean, sure, why not?
It started in 2014. Seattle decided
Okay, if you're not.
Seattle decided that they were going to raise the minimum wage slowly over the course of the next up to 2026, 2023, somewhere around there, 2023. They were going to take it from the federally mandated $7.25 and bring it up to $15 an hour. And they were like, hey, let's just have Seattle, the one city, be this hub, right? Mm-hmm. And we'll leave the rest of the state because fuck them. It'll be funny. So what they did and are currently still doing is a study to see how it affects it. And they gave them, the people running the study, the economists, full leniency in terms of like what happens to delving into hours for jobs, delves into, amount of employment.
So he has, like, does whatever the fuck he wants.
Well, in terms of like data.
Oh, okay.
As far as I'm aware, he doesn't get like personal data like, oh yeah, Bob showed up and got 2 hours late. I think it's like collectivized. Yeah, I think it's like collectivized like, yeah, so we had to reduce the number of hours based off the amount of people on average 2% type nonsense, right? Mm-hmm. And what they decided, what's happening is that they can see that people who were considered more inexperienced are getting their hours drastically cut. Whereas the people who are more experienced are staying on longer, right? So, because this is one of the main talking points about minimum wage. Smaller businesses and businesses are just going to cut people's hours. They're just going to fire people. They're going to find cheaper ways if we raise the minimum wage because they can't afford people. Or they're just going to drastically raise up prices of things, right? So
they're just kind of playing with however much money people spend and get.
yeah, in order to, channel it, because as it turns out, a business needs money incoming in order to pay the people, right? So they have to have the money incoming go up somehow, either sell more products because better employees, better prices, which a lot of places they can't, do any better than what they're giving.
So,
Or they raise the product cost, which in turn raises their profit margins so this way, or profit margins on the thing that they're making, so this way they can continue to pay the people at the new mandated wage.
because that's how pretty much what happens is that.
That's a lot of words you're saying there.
Well, I'll break it down for you. So
No, I'm getting it. It's just
yeah, well, because it's simple. Because if a business only has X amount of money to spend on labor, they only have that X amount of money. Whether that labor costs them $5 an hour, $35 an hour, or $150 an hour, they still only have $1,000 for the entire week for labor. So if they're being told they have to pay somebody $15 an hour, and then they have 7 people, but they have to break up $1,000 for the. This is just random numbers. They have to break up $1,000
Over 7 people.
over 7 people for that entire week. But now, because that person is making $15 an hour, that $1,000 goes way less. It doesn't get spread out as far.
So they're going to keep.
So they're
going to keep the guys that are going to give them the most profit because they're going to waste the least amount of time. They're going to be the most productive during said time.
Because they don't have to use that time to correct things. They don't have to use that time to make up for whatever they're lacking on because they weren't there, or whatever that has.
Whatever
to do
reason
that
I can
causes,
see this going either really, really right, or somehow getting really fucky along certain lines that we're all thinking about those lines are going to be.
So this is what I'm saying. The experienced people, the ones that ended up getting more and benefiting from it, only saw about a 9% raise after everything was said and done. But the people that were that had it getting taken away from them, that were losing hours, were seeing about a 23% loss on average. So you are hurting more people, but benefiting others. And while yes, certain families are now able to, stay above the poverty line, which is in terms of America, we're going to talk about the poverty line real quick. In terms of America, a single person, in order to be declared above or below the poverty line, just needs to make above $13,750. So $13,750, which minimum wage, $7.25 federal. If you work 40 hours a week, every week, that puts you at like $14,500.
Hey, I can tell you right now, it costs about $38,000 a year to live as a family of 3 in North Carolina.
and
So
it's
that
a
ain't
single
fucking
person.
good.
He's saying a single person.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's a.
Yeah.
You're doing the math.
Yeah, so 2 people working a minimum wage job with some suffice from the government to get them that extra $8,000, which is now a family of 3 type nonsense. Like, obviously the poverty line as a just American average is kind of weird because the cost of living is going to differ from New York City to West Virginia or North Carolina, Drastically different.
Country roads. West
Mountain
Virginia.
Mama.
Sorry, had to get it in there real quick. You said West Virginia. We all
No,
know.
it's fine. Break up the monotony.
Anyway.
So,
Sorry. See,
and there was a bunch of different studies from a bunch of different economists. In 1980, it was universally agreed that raising the minimum wage would actually cost more based off of the amount of people that would lose jobs, and it wouldn't help in the poverty line. In 1990, they did another one. It was like 80% of economists were still 100% that way. And then in 1996, they started adjusting their...
Jesus H. Christ.
in 1996 they started adjusting their data. According to current economist studies, the average economists, like 45% of it, think that'll hurt. 33 are onshore. 33% are onshore. And then the rest.
Okay, so I don't think the real problem is the minimum wage, because I want to tell you this. The big problem for me right now is lack of fucking hour. I make all right money per hour.
And that's one of the things
It's
that
the fact that they don't want to give you full time because they
So
also don't
that's-
want to give you fucking benefits, so they give you shit hours.
So that's one of the things that happens with raising the minimum wage. That, or if you take a look at, say
Well, so
Walmart,
I don't
where
wanna-
they're gonna swap
So I don't
swap
know
over to
if-
self checkouts instead of actually hiring people.
But so here's the thing that I don't fully agree with that. It doesn't really fully connect to minimum wage, where minimum wage is, because companies are not inclined to give full time whether minimum wage is low or high, because the cost of having a full time employee
With all the
Goes-
added benefits.
goes way beyond their immediate wage. So it's 100% true that a lot of companies don't like to give full-time hours.
I tell you, if my fucking job gave me full-time hours and basic medical benefits, I'd be a lot more inclined to do a little bit more for them in terms of the 80 fucking percent I give them across the board. Because when I give them effort, I give them 80% effort across the board. Because I need a 20 else for fucking rest of my life, But I'd be inclined to give them a little bit more if I had the hours and fucking, not have to be
Some
itching all the
benefits.
goddamn time.
It's the medical stuff.
Yeah.
It's the medical thing.
I mean, other than that, in terms of money, if I, whatever, I'll get it other ways if I have to, or figure that out, But in terms of like basic benefits across, would go a long way for a lot of bullshit,
Well, I mean,
That is part of the thing that ties in with minimum wage, though. As minimum wage goes up, that's benefits plus a cost of just paying you. Going from, the federal average, federal standard, federal standard of $7.25 up to 15. That's now double.
Well,
I understand
but
that, there are
that
definitely.
doesn't cover medical insurance is crazy expensive.
I'm not denying that. I'm not
so
denying
a
that.
family of
But,
So, like,
but what I'm saying is on top of, just raising the cost of living, the cost of him being there hourly, and the medical, it's a lot. I'm not saying it's ethical by any means,
So,
but what I'm saying
you go
is
back
like
to,
I understand.
Obamacare and Medicare and everything like that, but you can't get that stuff if you make over a certain amount of money. So that's the issue. So we have like a quasi.
it's a catch-22.
Yeah, so we have like a quasi blanket insurance for everybody, but it's not like a full insurance where everybody is able to get it. It's more like if you don't show this much money so like somebody like you.
I think if you are paying your
since you're
taxes and you don't have it, no matter what fucking amount of money you're paying, you should be able to get a government subsidized.
100%.
If you are paying,
So-
if you or your family is paying their taxes, then you should be by rights and able to government assisted medical if you aren't getting it from your insurance.
So
I don't know how
here's-
fucking hard that is.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing that needs to be separated. They need to separate.
Either that or you fucking tax billionaires more.
They need to separate the amount of money somebody gets versus how much medical insurance they're entitled to based off of how much money they should get. Everybody shouldn't be entitled to get medical coverage if they are in need of medical coverage.
Or maybe it shouldn't cost fucking $75,000 goddamn dollars to go to the fucking ER if you can't.
So that's the crazy part, because everybody should definitely get the medical coverage if they need it. Everybody. It shouldn't be where somebody's like, well, I have a fucking problem and I can't go get my shit taken care of because I'm not getting the money I'm not getting the benefits that work won't give me.
So there is, if you don't have insurance, a lot of places and a lot of hospitals that will like effectively pro bono or cost mitigate a lot of things. up to a certain extent. Because I can
Oh,
tell
I
you,
know,
because
yeah.
I can tell you right now that by law they have to have a certain amount just put in reserve for people that don't have any insurance or people that just come in.
Yeah, it's
And-
subsidies from the government and
Yes.
the corporations. Yeah, I know.
So, yes, that does happen. It's also happens in cases where, you know,
Then either fully
where
government
hospital.
subsidize the fucking hospitals.
Well, that doesn't help.
If a child has
as-
cancer and the parent has to pay a fucking shit ton of money,
As-
but
as-
that's not getting subsidized by this amount of money that you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
So,
like,
what I'm
there's
saying,
different, there's
what I'm
different
what,
things.
what I'm saying is, the insurance companies are the ones to blame predominantly in it. It's not.
There's a lot to blame. It's not just insurance.
The
I mean,
insurance
it's
companies are to
it's-
blame for the personal tragedy
you
against
can-
the people because they do.
Yeah, I mean, you can blame them because the price of everything is fucking jacked up through the roof, but you have to blame the government for not putting a cap on things, because the government doesn't cap that shit. So since the government doesn't put a fucking anywhere, you can't. The government doesn't like, yo.
If
you
you're not
can't
going to cap
cause-
things for free market with free market capitalism, then there should be a social based
So,
net
we live in a
safety netting
society
underneath.
where a
Thank you,
crackhead.
Joker.
We said
Just
the.
think-
He said
He
the
said
line.
the line.
He
He
said
said
the
the
line.
line.
Just take this into
Hey.
consideration. I
We
know
live
this
in a
isn't
society.
really the same topic. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with the fucking
Minimum wage?
or anything. But just take this into consideration. We live in a country where a fucking opiate fucking head or his brother or his sister or anybody can go in and they can get the fucking Narcan for free and carry it around so that if their junkie friend has a fucking overdose, they can shoot them with a Narcan and
That's
save
fine.
their life. That's
Why
fine.
not?
But if somebody has some fucking goddamn medical issues and they need asthma or they need diabetes and diabetes pills and stuff,
I don't. So I
insulin
will
is-
say I don't know anybody who needs asthma.
needs no somebody that has asthma and they need the fucking
Inhaler?
the
Yes.
inhaler because they have it. So
The
they
albuterol, I
need,
think, is the word.
they have asthma and the need is their need for medical assistance is asthma. It's not overdosing on fucking heroin. You know what
I
I'm
need a
saying?
medication that literally weakens my immune system, makes me
So-
more susceptible to everything.
That's the crazy part. Like they're breeding shit like that. They want that shit to happen. They don't want you to have.
It's an
Are
existential.
you telling me that the government planned the war on drugs?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right at all.
But it's a microcosm or more of a
The whitest
a
kid
larger.
you. Did you ever see the whitest kid you know sketch about the two guys from Langley sipping crack? Sorry.
It's
Oh,
a
you're from
TV
Langley?
bit.
Oh, so you're from Virginia. You like the team from Langley or whatever it was. And it's like, oh yeah, totally. If you ever need more, here's a pager. Ah, fuck. Sorry. By the way, do you know any up and coming Martin Luther King types?
He's still making a reference to whitest kids you know.
Gotta love the CIA.
But yeah, minimum wage.
Oh, bringing it back to the psychedelics episode. There we go. CIA.
Minimum wage. So, what's your proposal?
My proposal?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Ready? Keep
lot
tax
of-
the fucking billionaires more.
I mean, they're already taxed at like a 30%.
They're supposed
That's
to
more
be.
than anybody else.
They're supposed to be, but they use all their fucking bullshit loopholes and tax write-offs and fucking offshore accounts and
all
bullshit.
that stuff.
It sounds like you need to get better accountants. So this way you can use the same that they do.
No, but you have to have a crazy amount of money.
Yeah,
That's
you
just-
need a no.
No, not even close. If the TV show The Hunters has showed me anything, just go into New York City and find a random Swedish bank. You'll be fine.
Anyway, or you could launder the money.
Yeah.
Get a Saul. There we go. There's a reference. Anyway, okay. See, my proposal is once you turn 18, you have to get a job. If you don't get one by the time you're 21, you'll be given one. You can find a job otherwise if you want elsewhere, but you have to have a job. 100% fucking employment. Then, once you turn 75, you retire. I mean, once you turn 70, you retire. Then once you turn 75,
You die.
you throw it in the furnace and used for fuel for electricity. And
Is this the
switch
Giver?
from fossil-
Is this the plot of the Giver?
Switch from fossil fuels to elderly. It's green. You get a tax write-off for it, plus whatever they kept. Plus, you don't have to pay for the
A burial?
no, the what do you
The
call
urn.
it? Inheritance fee. There's no inheritance. There's no inheritance fee.
Sounds like you're pro Stalin there, bud.
Not.
No, it sounds like the plot
No.
of the Giver.
I just think there should be no old people, and I think people should have jobs. Just do simple things.
All
Have
right, now what
jobs.
about people who are disability? People who are disabled.
They get to work from home doing the call center jobs that we sent overseas to India.
What if they
So
can't
the
speak?
people that are disabled, to just
They could do programming
to be a
jobs.
proponent of his side of that, the people that are disabled that can't work, there would be a tax paid by the people that are working. So if everybody has a job, then there'd be
That's not what he said.
no. He did say
No,
that.
what he
He
said
said
was,
once you turn to 18, you have to find a job.
Yeah,
or you'll
and-
be given a job.
yeah, and
You
what he
given a
said,
job at 20.
Or
21
by
is
20.
what you said.
Yeah, fine, 21. Either way, 20,
Whatever.
21.
Yeah, he said that
You
if
get
they're
3
disabled,
years.
they would be call center.
I didn't hear him say that.
Yep.
He didn't say anything about disabled.
Yeah, he did. He said, "What about disabled?"
No, he
"Oh."
said disabled. He didn't say anything
I
about
said
disabled.
they could. I said we could give them like call center jobs or like tech support
Oh,
jobs.
oh.
The
You
stuff
were,
that we
like,
sent overseas to India.
You were zoned out. You were zonked.
I didn't hear that part.
No offense to India. I just don't think you guys should have our jobs. No offense.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know
Give
you
it
guys.
to the guy with one leg,
Same thing with China.
right?
I mean,
Bring back our sweatshops.
Did I
Bring
fall
back our
asleep?
fucking
we could.
sweatshops.
We'll give you guys foreign aid, but we should keep our fucking jobs.
Bring back our sweatshops is what he's saying. Make America great again. Put the kids in the mines. They yearn for the mines.
They yearn for the sweatshops in the mines. Well, I mean, you know what? If you all these jobs require experience, then you know what? All the sweatshop jobs that from 18 to 21, while you're still young and still virile, you do those jobs.
Oh, what's
They can
wrong?
have the sweatshop jobs.
So they get paid nothing,
No, they'll get minimum wage.
which is
Whatever the federal standard should be.
that is what I was asking you.
Well, the federal standard should be whatever the based off cost of living adjusted for inflation. Duh.
So you think that the minimum wage should be a living wage, is what you're saying?
A basic living wage. Yeah.
Okay, well, technically it is right now. It's above the poverty line. You're not poverty.
Exact. That's what I'm.
At 725, you're above poverty.
No, I get paid about 15, almost 16.
I'm
bucks
saying
last I checked.
the current federal minimum wage is above the current average.
When is my review again? Should have already happened. Or does
I
it
tell
come
you,
in
I'm-
June?
I'll tell you, I'm pro-union,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and I think
Although technically I'm not supposed to say that because you're working a retail job.
I will say that I also think that there are some unions that do absolutely nothing, and a lot of people that get appointed towards unions end up letting it go to their heads, like some people in the government.
I was about to
Like
say.
I would never say anything in reference to the town.
Jesus. Oh, we want to go down a whole fucking can of worms there. We could go downtown to Hempstead fucking stories.
I'm gonna have to bleep that.
Oof.
But yeah. So what about you?
What about me?
Living wage, minimum wage, and what is a living wage? How does one perfectly antiquate the cost of living? People have different societal beliefs on what they need for a cost of living. There are rich people that grew up, in
You good there,
Burbank.
buddy?
I don't trust those cars.
There are rich people that grew up in
What,
Burbank.
that gray one?
That's a Prius. That's his. There are
No,
rich
the one
people that
no,
grew up in
behind it.
Yeah, there are rich people that grew up in Burbank that, have a completely different standard of living than, fucking
Want me to go to
Bubba
the
Gump.
trunk?
Bubba Gump, who fucking grew up in West Virginia, Mountain Mama, running fucking shine all his life.
Have you ever been to the Bubba Gump restaurant?
I have been to a Bubba Gump restaurant.
I was tempted to last time I was in the city, and then I said, nah,
Yeah, no.
shit's overpriced.
So what I mean is, how do we assess that? Do we do it in a state-based level? Do we do it at a federal?
I think it should be a federal across the board. Should be a
Federal should definitely. It should be a federal thing. The only problem is, if you
Again,
put it
there's such vast and wild cost of living difference between Burbank and fucking.
But so instead of having like they have.
You could come across with a rough national average per state. I mean, through all the states, and go a bit higher than that, and then from there it would be up to the state.
They did. It's called 725 right now. That's above the poverty line.
Fucking Alabama, isn't it? It's fucking Alabama that's causing this shit. I swear to fuck. Goddamn Alabama. It's fucking Alabama that's causing this shit. It's gotta fucking be. Them and their goddamn sex toy ban. Did you know about that shit?
Yep.
Yeah. No, you can't. Unless it's for educational purposes, you can't have sex toys in Alabama. Fucking crazy is that shit.
Damn, I want to be in that fucking class using sex toys as educational purpose.
Wait, you didn't have that class?
Nope. I must.
You didn't have a home ec class? Or not home.
Sex ed?
No. What do we call it? Health class? We called it health.
You didn't see The Miracle of Life?
No, I did not. I did not. But you know where I actually ended up watching something similar to that?
During one of the 3 kids' births?
No, an EMT class.
Huh.
No, on all 3 of those were cesarean, but that's a different story.
Yeah, that's a different gross.
No, EMT class, and it was one made by like 1970s cops for 1970s cops in the back of a fucking.
Let's go!
In the back of a Crown Vic.
Let's go!
Oh my god, yo, it was hairy. It fucking exploded. Oh my
Fun
god.
fact: razors weren't invented until the 1990s.
Did you know the match was actually invented after the lighter?
Yeah.
Did you know that? Like the basic, like pocket, like a basic lighter, the match itself, like strikeable matches were invented after these things.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that, but it makes sense.
I knew
It
that.
happened
That's just
way.
because yeah, it was a whole chemist thing, and yeah.
Yeah, so they needed to adjust for the phosphorus and iron in order to actually get it into. I'm not going to go into matches and how to, strike flammables. Chemistry, kids, it's a hell of a drug. But, all they basically needed was kerosene and fucking flint and steel for a pocket lighter, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's been a thing since forever.
But the match itself came.
Yes.
Yeah. Was way later.
Yes.
It's weird when you actually look up like a lot of things like that.
Yeah, like peanut butter.
Peanut butter actually wasn't invented by what's his name?
By a peanut factory or butter factory.
No, the person it's commonly
Associated with?
It wasn't his thing. It was actually kind of an older
Buttersworth?
thing, but he did come up with a lot of uses and stuff for peanut butter, and also did kind of dabble in with the recipe of it and everything. But the peanut butter itself has kind of been around in terms of concept for way longer.
Minimum wage.
Redville Hornbacker.
Well, at the mic, he said Orville Redenbacher.
Orville Redenbacher.
No, that's the popcorn guy.
At the mic.
But
I just told you.
Orville Redenbacher.
We need to wake you up.
Mm-hmm.
Quick, somebody get me some fire. That'll wake them.
but anyway,
So minimum wage. I just...
Oh,
You think that every single job should pay for the cost of living. Period.
More
40
or
hours 40 hours.
I think that
I think
it should be possible for a single person to be able to pay for at least 1 or 2 other people more or less comfortably,
I don't think so on a minimum wage job.
and then you should be shot out of the cannon into a sun.
Look, I understand that, bad things happen, but if you are at a minimum wage job and you have responsibilities of another person, another life, I am sorry, but I do not think that you should be at a minimum wage job. I think that you should go for a better job.
But the problem is a lot of people have to also be around for them, and these other jobs tend to not need you to not be around for those other people, which is where a lot of despondence comes there.
So during the pandemic, studies have shown that people that were in the middle to high middle class that were working that type of job, 90% of them were able to work remotely. So they were actually given more time. I don't want to...
Well, yeah, a lot of jobs now you could do, like, the thing is that's like a lot of office and jobs that you don't need to really. I'm talking about the physical jobs you have to show up for, like going to like McDonald's or being at a fucking grocery store.
And I'm
not saying that
and I'm saying if you're responsible for another life,
I think the people who fucking stock the shelves should be getting a little bit more goddamn money than the people who sit there click-clacking at a fucking desk all day.
it all depends on the responsibility of the person at a desk. If they're a fucking air traffic controller, they're sitting at a desk click-clacking, but they're responsible for hundreds of lives per plane.
I'm talking about like the people doing like accountant work and all that bullshit.
I mean, accounting is very important as well.
To me, it's not.
That is people's whole financial life. I'm not talking about just corporate. That's like personal finance is a lot of accounting. And you think that they shouldn't be compensated for, literally playing with people's lives effectively?
I don't think they should be playing with people's lives so much, but yeah.
But you get what I'm saying. Like if they are the financial guy, they are their accountant. They
Yes,
are
but
their
they're also the people
stockbroker.
that are getting the people like the billionaires who should be paying more money off on their little tax bullshit breaks.
And they're the guys that find you loopholes for your tax breaks whenever you do your taxes. It might not be as significant, but you don't have as much money.
I've never actually gone for tax breaks aside from the ones that are given to me by my children. I've never written anything off.
You should try it.
I don't need to. I just claim my children and get plenty back.
So you're using tax breaks, is what you're saying, to get money back.
Well,
though.
those are ones that are come standard from the fucking government, not ones that an accountant is finding for me.
These are ones that come standard from the government that billionaires are utilizing. Many of them claim loss.
Well, they fucking shouldn't be, but that's a different story.
I mean,
I don't
most
like
of the
fucking
billionaires are based off of estimated value. They don't actually have anywhere near that much money.
I don't like the concept of billionaires really in general, but that's a different story.
You haven't spoken in a while. What's your input? Do you think that somebody that is flipping burgers at McDonald's should be paid more than somebody who does, I don't fucking know.
I don't think that they should be-
Personally, I think that at the end of the day, you should be able to survive. Whatever you're doing in life, as long as you're willing to work, you should be able to survive from that. Now, if you don't want to work and you don't get full-time work is hard to find, right? That's obviously
It definitely
true.
can be,
Well,
yeah.
So
I mean, bring it back the fuck around.
So
Here's the thing. I
think as long as everybody could have food and have a stable place to live, I think that would break away from the whole factor of like, oh, well, I need to make more money. I have to have more money. I need to do this. I have to. So if we can break that down, I know it's not kind of
Well, what
really
about
talking
medical?
about that, huh?
Well, what about medical? That too?
Well, because then we're not saying that everybody's given everything, but people are like, oh, well, I don't have enough to, I'm not making enough money to survive, because it's like, well, they don't have enough money for either their family, to feed their family, or to make the bills to provide for their family. So you shouldn't also be able to go out and have 45 kids, 37 kids, you shouldn't be able to have, a kid every year and then take advantage of the things, But if you have a family of 3 kids, like an average household,
The standard nuclear family.
yeah, like you should
As opposed
have,
to the standard Amish. Not to pick on the Amish, but they're not watching us. Let's be real.
So like, there's plenty of empty
not saying
spaces. There's
Mormon,
plenty
but
of
okay.
wasted food. So we can figure out ways to get people the basic necessities of life. As long as somebody can provide the basic necessities, I think that's where it comes down to breaking it
Yeah,
apart.
exactly.
If somebody can have the basic necessities, which is food, shelter, and clothing, right? If we can get the people that, then I don't think the focus of how much money they're making is a factor, because it's also a difference between what somebody
Well,
is
okay, we're
willing
going
to
to be
live
fair
off
though.
of.
Let's not go clothing because
Well,
I've
no,
seen
not to the
I've
fact
seen
that
what government standard and issue clothing looks like, and
Same.
it ain't pretty.
Same. I've paid for it.
yeah, but like
It
Look.
ain't cheap.
I've worn it.
there shouldn't be people wearing $5,000 shirts and then people that aren't wearing, that don't have enough money to wear any shirts. There shouldn't be people that are eating $5,000 fucking hamburgers when down the
I don't
street
think there
there's
should be
some.
$5,000 hamburgers in general. At that
But that's
point, it's just
also
kind of
part of the whole
bullshit.
thing too. That's part of the problem. That's
you,
also part of the
Salt Bae.
problem. There shouldn't be a $5,000 shirt.
Fight
But
me.
because of the society that we live in, that shit happens. But
People
that-
want the clout.
But see, I mean,
Okay,
you
I don't
see,
give a
you
shit.
see it a lot. You ever see that Instagram thing where it's like, this is how a rich man dresses, this is how a poor man dresses, and the poor man's wearing a fucking $5,000 fucking watch. He's got a fucking $2,000 pair of fucking Nikes on, and he's got this fucking $500 hat. and
Okay,
he's-
that's kind of usually bullshit, but yeah.
no, but that's
Well, no,
it's
he's
not-
being-
If you've actually looked into Zuckerberg's T-shirts, those things cost about $300.
Yeah, but he's going based off of the fact that a lot of people will put their money into material possessions as opposed to investing into something, so this way they can actually grow in income and
That's
get
what I'm
out
saying.
of being poor.
That's what I'm
They'll
saying,
spend it
because-
on material gains such
because
as a
material
$2,000
things makes
shirt.
them feel better at that time.
And that's
So
their
he-
own
so-
mistake, but that's
so
a whole
Zuckerberg
different
might
story.
spend $300 on a shirt, but he's got, and
money
he
to do it,
shouldn't.
yeah.
He shouldn't be
Oh, he
doing that.
should.
But a $300 shirt to him is like a fucking $10 shirt to me, or a fucking whatever. It's all equivalent.
I don't even remember how much this. I want to say it's like the usual $15-20 Walmart special. And this is great.
But
It's
the
a fine
problem
shirt.
at the end of the day is too many people want to live above their means. Now, when you start to live above your means, then you start to think of, well, I'm not fucking making enough money. But if you don't live above your means,
That's
and
people
you're
that
just,
want to chase clout.
if you're just happy with making sure you have the basic necessities, it doesn't mean that you should
Yeah,
be.
but what color's your Bugatti?
Hi, internet.
That
People that
doesn't-
want to chase clout. Hi, internet.
Now, that doesn't mean that you should fucking not be able to enjoy things once in a while. You should be able to enjoy a vacation. You should be able to have fucking.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be living as a fucking, like as a nothing, but you can't be living as an everything when you don't have the means to do that. So if you live above your means, then you push for a different, you start to fucking, things start to get, disassembled. That's the fucking problem.
Are you recording this?
No, I would never record us recording.
So that's,
Conception?
I think that's where it's a problem, because it's a misconception of what is inside the boundaries of basic necessity, and then what steps out of the lines of basic necessity, and how do we get the people their basic necessities.
So I think it should be, in terms of if you have a job that you're paying your taxes through, or just in general, there should be a way. There should be, you should have
But I don't. So you could have more than one job. That's not that's not a construct of things that are outside the realm of life. If you don't get enough money from one job because of hours or because of whatever, that's fine. But you can have side hustles, legal, illegal.
I just think that you
whatever.
should be able to have a job and have be able to have a job, pay your taxes, take care of your family, or just in general be able to have a life outside of your fucking work.
Well, yeah, that's where the standard 40-hour work week came about. That was part of the whole concept. So this way that a person could. Admittedly,
But
yes,
the problem is
we
there's a
started
lot
to...
but that goes back to D saying that there are a lot of places that don't provide those things.
Because
Yeah.
they're trying to avoid doing the thing like paying, like, and
So now,
Like-
if we had...
if you're not getting that standard 40 hours because they don't want to pay for it, but you're still also paying your taxes that are, you should be able to
So
get
what I
fucking
would-
subsidized health care at least.
So what I would propose possibly is that...
Like, if corporations
maybe
are
this
going to
is-
just fucking
So
pull their share in terms of that because they don't want to for profit margins or whatever the fuck, then I think that because I'm paying my taxes, I should be able to get at least some subsidized fucking health care.
absolutely, 100%. So now, what I think to take away from this and to possibly... And it might actually work as like
in
a...
terms of budget.
it
Oh,
might
that's
actually-
an entirely different episode.
It might actually work as like as a way to help corporations to start putting people on as full time. Maybe you propose something where it's like, if you have full time employees, the government who fucking shits money will pay their fucking
Like-
insurance. So
Or
now,
give
so
if
now
you're going to
here's
have
what
like give
happens.
tax breaks to corporations as incentivifications to give more fucking
But it shouldn't even have to
insurance.
be that way. It should just be, you have 500.
Like,
If you
it's
have-
either
if
give
you-
the corporations back the money that we're
So
going to
you-
give the people for their fucking insurance, or vice versa. Like,
The
just-
government, there's no
you can
there's no
allocate the
reason
fucking
why.
money either or. God, I don't give a shit. But either way, I should be able to fucking get the goddamn shot I need, so I'm not fucking itchy 24/7. I'm sorry.
No, that's 100% true.
But here's the thing.
Also, why the fuck do the shots cost $60,000?
That's the other problem. So
Four shots a year, and it's $60,000 fucking dollars.
yeah. So it's
But here's the thing. Putting an awful lot of trust in the government there, bud.
well, that's the problem because the government doesn't fucking
We've-
care about its actual constituents. They
We've
don't care
worked
about
for the
us.
government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know that the government.
We've worked
But
for
if
the
you-
government
but-
on multiple levels across the board. We know they don't give a fuck.
No, they
and they
don't.
also spend their
Well,
money
it's not
fucking
that
retarded.
it's not that they don't give a fuck. They're just they don't know any better. In the terms of the South, bless their heart.
Jesus fucking.
So I mean, it seems like that's a pretty fair fucking way where it's
So if you work 40 hours a week,
No.
you get medical. That's what. It doesn't matter about the money. Money is inadequate. That's what we're saying.
yeah.
No, I think if you have a job in general, 40 hours or not, you should be able to get some form of insurance.
Not. There
So
has
even-
to be. There has to be
If
a
you
cap.
are paying your taxes,
There has to be a because
you should be able to get some form of basic insurance. Cap or like whatever the I don't like, but you should be able like at least that as a start, so that this way it doesn't fucking going to the hospital for something doesn't fucking cripple you financially forever. And yes, I understand you could do like payments and stuff and it not fuck with your credit, but still,
But
a
here's
lot
the-
of people don't understand that.
even still, even if you pay it off, that shit might not be in a suffice to where it doesn't hurt you.
That
You know,
and
if
that
somebody's-
and I'll put this out here. Insurance only pays for so much because they're kind of evil.
Well, I mean, my father recently was in the hospital, and his medical bills would have been insane had my mom not had good insurance.
But what I'm
Insane. Like they
but-
probably would have had to sell the fucking
I
house.
keep forgetting
Insane.
he's around. Like not like he's just. I
Yeah.
haven't seen him in forever. How is he doing? I'm so. We'll get
alright.
better. Sorry. Anyway.
He's living on minimum wage. I'm just kidding.
But-
Fucking around. No, but seriously though, like
But as I'm sure you saw then, even with insurance, there was still some carryover, and there was like, all right,
No,
well this,
hardly
well
any.
this.
I don't think they paid anything out of pocket.
But what I'm getting at is like, there's different caps with different insurance on different things, and it's like, all right, well this hospital doesn't take this insurance, and this hospital
Yeah,
doesn't
but
take
that's-
this
First
insurance.
off, there's way too many fucking insurance companies in general.
And
Well-
there's way too many fucking litigations.
This problem is everybody
But this
needs
is
to
not
make
a-
fucking money.
but this is
Everybody
not
wants
a-
money, which is why we're talking about the minimum wage episode. Because everybody's so fucking focused on I have to make so much goddamn money to be happy. I'm a fucking slave to making all this money.
Well, most people don't need insurance until later on in life.
Yeah. But
you know,
that's
God bless anybody, and God, hope that fucking
Well,
they don't
I
need
mean-
it, or if you don't believe in God, fuck it. Satan, I don't know. Whatever you believe in, whatever you pray to or
Big
don't
dude
pray
in the
to,
sky.
yeah, the big Deuteronomy in the sky. Hopefully he doesn't, hopefully he helps you out so this way you don't have to worry about insurance and needing anything health wise. But it, happens unfortunately.
Or hey, how about this one? Here's a great. Why don't we tax the fucking churches or houses of worship?
But the separation of church and state.
Look how fucking good that's going right now.
But the separation.
We have fucking legislators actively trying to get rid of that right now. It's time to tax the fucking churches.
You just tried to pass me the ball. Oh, you really are high, aren't you?
But if
So let's see, an hour and however many into the comments, into the podcast.
comments.
Yeah, let's get people into the comments and be like, all right, well, do you think that it's more of a minimum wage thing? Do you think that minimum wage needs to be increased? Do you think that that would actually help anything? Because this was all based off of trying to get people out of poverty and trying to basically provide people a better substance of living. That's why it came about.
I mean, the real issue is, as a society, humanity as itself is going to always be stepping over somebody else.
Yes, greed is inherent in most people.
That's the. Oh, I want to say it right now. And the reason I hate fucking socialism is not because it conceptually is a great idea. Conceptually, it is. It's just inherently, it's just not going to work based off human
Nature.
Based
Human
off-
nature
yeah.
leads to greed eventually. As it turns out,
And
ultimate power corrupts ultimately. And
it
you
just-
kind of need somebody in charge of things for socialism.
and the people who are going
Can
to
you
be in
say
charge.
that again
just-
in the Kermit the Frog voice?
Ultimate power, it corrupts ultimately.
Jordan Peterson.
I am the Jordan Peterson.
It sounds just like, that fucking broken brain. Goes to Russia for a year and a half to be in a coma for get over his fucking drug addiction. That motherfucker. Anyway, but
I am Kermit the Frog.
did you see that shit he did with the Chinese?
But
Sorry.
minimum wage, yeah. The whole thing about it was meant to try and get people out of poverty. So we're saying that the
But
poverty line
inherently-
and doesn't matter, homelessness doesn't matter.
No, it matters. Trust me, it matters. But inherently, as a society,
think that
as
that's a
human
different thing?
nature, it's just going to always be a thing. Unfortunately,
Okay, so you don't think that raising the minimum wage would help?
I think that raising the minimum wage is essentially a band-aid over like what should be fucking major surgery.
Okay. E2 Brute?
I think
That's you.
Me?
Yes.
it's a temporary solution to something that should be inherently
So you're saying we need a final solution?
Don't get me started with my
I'm saying- I think
misanthropy bullshit.
as long as people-
Do not fucking get me started with my misanthropic bullshit because I'll bring you down the G pill path. I'll bring you down that. All right, don't get me started on what I actually think about people as a whole.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Brutus.
I mean,
You think that raising the minimum wage is not going to help? You think that it needs to be helped in different ways? Yes or no?
so some economists will say that raising the minimum wage doesn't have a direct effect on the cost of living and inflation.
About 45% of them will agree with that statement, and then about 33% of them. This is a study done as of 2020. About
We've already said
33%
those
of them.
numbers, but yes,
What's up?
we've already said those numbers,
Yes.
but yes.
And about 33% of them, as of 2020, again, do not know whether raising the minimum wage will actually help or hinder. So that leaves very
mean, I
few
think-
percent that think that it will help. Math is hard.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of just see it over time as people started making more money through minimum wage. People started to have to spend more money to live because it's all just always going to be tied together. So it's not just one of those things where you're going to automatically make more money and then not have to spend it more and spread it out less over time, because that's just inevitable. It's just how it's happened, and that's history, and history always repeats itself.
Okay, so hear me.
So
So I have a question for you, as somebody who interacts with small business. If they were to raise the minimum wage further, how would that affect you? As stated, as somebody who interacts with small business, you interact more with the large business. So I'll ask you in a second, but you're
as
you're a
the
worker.
as the employee, I feel like a lot of employees have this misconception that every small business owner or every business owner automatically equates them to being a millionaire or making a shit ton of money, where they can automatically afford to then pay all of their underlings, because that's what they think of us. We think of, like we're thought of as like the king. Oh, you have a business, you're the king, and you must have all this money, and you're getting in your private jet and flying home, which isn't really the case.
Especially for, 90% of small business owners.
It's not even the case. Like, you can buy into a fucking McDonald's and have
60%
one
of small
McDonald's
business owners.
and you're not making money. It's not. That's not
Well,
even. I'm not.
McDonald's is inherently a real estate business, not a fucking food business. But that's a different story.
But none of these franchises are built for you to make a lot of money off of one.
Franchisation is real estate. It's a real estate thing. It's never supposed to be about making money for the people who get franchised.
Let the man talk.
Sorry.
No, well, that's the problem, is because a lot of them never reach past having one. So you're right, because the corporation wants to have the land. They're going to buy that land above, somebody else who might buy up that land and put their brand there, and that marks that territory as whoever. But a lot of these franchise owners don't have the means to buy a second or a third or a fourth, which is actually what allows them to experience the wealth of owning a franchise. Because when you own just one, unless it's in a crazy, crazy good location, you're probably not going to be making a lot of money for a good amount of time. And that's just how it is, because when you buy into a franchise, you're kind of forced to go by all of their rules. You have to buy every single product through all their manufacturers, which means that you're now stuck with whatever fucking their rate is of buying all the goods. It doesn't matter if you have the money for it. As a franchise, you're kind of forced into being a part of all their promotional fucking things. So you might not be able to afford to give away your hamburger because you're not doing the mass sales, you're not doing the volume to justify that, which is what a lot of these companies make money off of. So, perfect example. Like, somebody that I know works for ShopRite. He works for a guy who owns a lot of ShopRites. So now, when you equivalate what I'm going to say into a mere factor of maybe just one or two or three transactions throughout the day, it's like, oh shit, that guy's not making any money. But when you equivalate the factor that he's doing 700, 800,000 item transactions, per day, or, probably more item transactions per day, then you're like, oh shit, that guy's making the amount of money that he's making. So he breaks it down to a penny that he makes. He makes 1 penny per item transaction. So every scan, whether it's a $300 item or whatever it is, he makes 1 penny off of that item because of all the overhead that's tied to it. So if he does 5 transactions a day, he's making 5 cents a day. But if he does 500,000 transactions a day, he's making 500,000 times 1 cent. Now extrapolate that over. He owns 7 stores, so that's where all the money comes in. So it's similar to somebody who buys into a franchise.
But then you have to see how much it goes back into cost for employee, how much the supplies are, cost
Exactly.
of upkeep for
So-
maintenance, like electricity and shit. Yeah.
So now, if their profit per sale is X, they need X to survive to stay open because, X is their break even point,
Yes.
right?
That is how a business works. There is a break-even point where you can now
It becomes
continue.
net.
Yeah, where it is debt or it's actually no longer debt.
It's referred
Yeah.
to being in the black, if memory serves.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you
Black
are
Friday.
underneath
That's
the
racist.
break even point, you're working for other people. If you get to above the break even point, then you can start to see where you can make some money. But as the break even point keeps getting higher and higher and higher
Due
and
to
higher,
things like, say, raising the minimum wage, which is what we
It
were
could
talking
be-
about and why I asked you.
it could be minimum wage, it could be cost of service, cost of goods, cost of whatever, cost of
Ingredients.
cost of
Light.
overhead, all the overhead is continually going up. Rent, gas, electric, whatever, you name it, blah, 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 whatever. It continues to go up. So as an owner, you try and figure out ways to,
Mitigate.
just balance the scales of justice. So it kind of goes back to what Jackson was saying earlier, that as minimum wage keeps getting higher and higher and higher, a lot of these companies are going to pull away hours because they don't have materialized money to pay said hours because they only have X amount of money for the week. And it doesn't matter how many people they have to spread it out amongst, that's what they have. So
So as a person that deals with small business, as stated, minimum wage increase. This is what we were going about, and then you went on a franchise tangent.
So, yeah, minimum wage will 100% directly affect it.
Let's say it raised from current in New York 15. Let's give it the gold standard of doubling it because that is what the current proposal for federal is, which affects the countrywide.
So it'd be
20
$30
I'm just
an
going to
hour?
break
hold
it down
on,
easily.
hold on. 20.
So I'm gonna
hold
break
on.
it down.
21 of the states, 21 of the current states in America still have the federal minimum wage as their standard. So
here's
7.5.
here's the perfect way to
7.25.
break it down
So
for
if
you
they were
guys.
to up it to 15
It
for
doesn't-
21 of the states, it would double.
So-
which is why I'm saying 30.
here's what's going to pretty much happen. If your paycheck now is $305 and they up the minimum wage to $15 and the minimum wage was $7.50.
This doesn't hypothetically affect because he goes off tip because he could do.
Well,
But-
I'm not technically aligned with this scenario. But here's the break.
It's-
Here's how to break it down. If
The-
you're making
The tip standard is in question as well currently.
if you're making $300 a week at X amount of money per hour,
Let's do easy math, $10 an hour.
right? Now they bump that minimum wage up to
15, that's a 50%.
$15 an hour, right? They give you a 15% raise.
50%.
50% raise, sorry, yeah. They give you a 50% raise.
Because the government
You're
said so.
thinking automatically, shit, I'm going to be making 50% more than I was making. So if I was making $300, I'm going to make $450. What's actually going to most likely happen is you're going to either be making $300 or a little bit less than that because your hours aren't going to go up. They're probably going to be pulled back. Because they don't have the money to make up for it. So you'll be working less hours and getting the same amount of money, as opposed to being able to work more hours and being able to get more money, but just getting a little bit less money. See how it breaks down?
yes, but that's
Because a little bit less money on the front, it's kind of similar to saying, would you rather make a quick nickel or a slow dime? You ever heard that? It's
Yes.
better to make a quick nickel than a slow dime, or is it better to make a slow dime than a quick nickel? It depends on what you want to do. It all depends on what your preference is. So if you want to make more money, you might be better served to work for a little bit less and then get the hours because they can afford to give you those hours, as opposed to working for a little bit more but not being able to afford the hours, so they cut back on the hours, and you wind up making almost the same amount of money or a little bit less. Because it's kind of how the power struggle of the things go, unfortunately, because at the end of the day, a good portion of the people that are paying minimum wage aren't the huge corporations that we think. It's not the, like...
It's not Walmart or Amazon.
Walmarts and corporations are a separate entity in themselves now, basically.
So if...
What will end up actually happening...
maybe what they should do is, if you're working for... Which kind of is counterproductive to what you're saying, but maybe what they should do is say, like, if you do work for Walmart, it should be like a prized position where Walmart should have to pay more money because they make a lot of more money.
Well, so like Walmart and Amazon are actually pushing for higher minimum wage, which will, as it turns out, coincidentally, force workers to want to choose them in order to work. So they're actually driving away the workforce from other jobs.
Yeah. So it's so there's a...
They're actually slowly shuttling out business from other businesses. So raising the minimum wage kills small business and helps the monopolies.
Could.
It does. It's been shown to...
But then that turns into, would you rather work for the machine, the corporation, and get treated like shit and make a little bit extra money? Or would you rather work for a smaller business where you are...
Walmart, like I said on the top, as a corporation, isn't the worst. It's the individual standards of Walmart that tend to be the shit. Not going to... Because like I said...
Well, I'm sure the
part-time employees, after a year, like, get full benefits as an option. And on top of that, they like I said, they do have a pretty prescient...
A pretty progressive,
like, you know, time clock in and off type thing with the 7 on, 7 off thing. And a lot of them now are offering full ride scholarships too for certain positions.
Same thing with Amazon.
Which isn't, but they've actually, believe it or not, Walmart offered massive scholarships even before they offered full ride scholarships. But that's a difference. I never took it. I don't give a shit. But the thing is though, is there if they're offering something like that to part-time employees, that
and that is why they become
they could afford that
billion-dollar companies.
Yes, but that's the thing. But those are the things that people that's a basic thing that somebody needs is by giving the part-time employee those even just those benefits, that improves their life standards even without giving them the raise, because there's...
So what you're saying is that you want monopolies in order to run it.
I'm not saying monopolies need to run it. I'm saying that more companies should start, even just should start being able to give out things like benefits by getting, if you're a small company, you should be able to give your employees benefits by getting a tax break from the government to give those employees benefits. Even if
that's what I was saying. That's why I said. So what you should do is, that's
even if you're
my idea was where
if
you have a full-time employee, the government pays for that said full-time employee's health benefits. That will push businesses that are afraid to have full-time employees, that don't want to do that stuff. That's one less expense. So now they can worry about, if they're going to do their, if they're going to help out with the 401k or retirement and all that other stuff, that also goes into having a full-time employee. Because it's not just medical benefits. There's a lot of other stuff that when you start having, a full-time employee, you have to provide certain amount of things. You have to provide them with certain packages after a certain amount of time served. Maybe they're unionized, maybe they're not unionized. That's different stories.
A lot of companies prefer the tax breaks to actually just having the employees themselves get the benefits from the government.
I mean,
because they want their money back.
So they have loose definitions of what consists of a small business and a
corporation,
a corporation or a large business. You could be making $15 million, $125 million, a couple. You could make a lot of money and be considered a small business solely based off the fact of how many employees you have.
That's obvious.
Yeah, but that doesn't really compute because I'm not the same small business as, say...
Yeah, but small businesses like that are like more personal, intimate like that is a different story from, say, like...
Walmart Junior.
No,
We're going to use Walmart Junior as, 15... as a $125 million
more
business.
something like, okay, well, my
Place of work.
my employee, which
Shan't be named.
shan't be named, but that's, that itself is like, I mean, they're a different type of corporation, but yeah, it's a bit of a different story.
They also are nowhere near as large as someone like Amazon or Walmart.
No, not nearly as large, but
Spoiler alert, he doesn't work for Walmart or Amazon.
I used to work for Walmart. I used to also work couple different positions in government, and as a landscaper. I also did EMT volunteer work for a while. And technically, we were both karate instructors.
It's a hard subject.
It's a difficult subject because there's so many fucking variables.
There's a
and
lot of
inevitably,
variables.
somebody's going to end up having to get shafted, and that's the biggest problem.
And that's why a lot of economists say that raising the minimum wage does nothing to affect poverty levels and does nothing to affect people's livelihoods, which is what we were getting about.
So what I just raising minimum wage is a Band-Aid on a serious wound. Like, something that would require, like, actual serious, medical treatment. It's like slapping, like, a couple bandages on and saying, here you go, you're good to go.
So I think
It's
I think that's and it's partially because a lot of people are like.
Let's wrap it up soon.
I
'cause you
think
wanted to-
I think a lot of
Well, we
Just 'cause
kind
you
of
didn't
just
wanna,
got
like-
involved in it.
yeah, we're good.
Okay, as long as you're cool with
It seems like the
Kinda going in
the
circles
raise
a
to
little bit.
minimum
A little
wage
bit,
and like how much it should be and who deserves what and why they deserve it and what's the standard of living and what's the correct amount. I think a lot of it is to do that's what the government wants us to be doing. They want us to be fighting over the whole.
You don't
well,
fucking say.
You don't deserve this. We don't deserve that. You don't want. So it's like, again, like just as long as we all can get the fucking basic necessities, give the people fucking a place to live, make sure they have food, make sure that they can get to see a doctor.
Believe it or not, across the board, almost 100% of economists say that that people will get more money back by simply giving fucking homeless people shelter to live in than letting them be on the streets. Like, simply giving them a basic place to fucking live saves taxpayers so much more fucking money in the long run than having these people just simply live out on the streets. Did you fucking know that?
Yeah,
How
but-
did that? Just start there.
There's so much.
Yeah, but what about the people that?
mismanagement.
But what about the people that built those? They should just give up their freedoms. They should just give up the things that they can make money off of.
No, but then you get
What do you
subsidized
mean?
by the fucking government. That's the fucking point. If the
So then the government is now paying for it in a different way instead of a different way.
But you pay
If the
less money
government
in
can
your
pay for-
it costs less money in your taxes to subsidize and give those people a simple fucking roof to live in to the taxpayer. It costs the taxpayer hypothetically less to simply build and give a fucking person a place to live than it would be to let them stay on the fucking street as is and let things go about the way they are by either fucking any other, like, literally.
I want to see how they came about that conclusion.
Because once you give a person a place to stay, that gives them a stable place to then go on to like start getting jobs and having like actually getting what they need. Like even just there as a simple start. Because once you give a lot of this
It goes back to that. If you
like how a
if
lot
you
of this is
fucking
like how
teach
can
a
you give
man
a
to fish,
person
he'll eat for the rest of his life. Or if you fucking give a man a fish, then he'll just fucking be he'll just rely on
like
you.
you give a man a fish, you feed him for the day. You teach a man to fish, you feed him for the rest of their life. By just simply starting by giving somebody the basic necessities what they need. Even like I said, just
It's all
basic
it is.
medical.
It's just the basic necessities. It's
You-
the bare necessities.
it will call. I'm not like. It's like a lot of fucking countries do this shit.
That's what
a lot
I
of
do
fucking
agree with
European
that.
countries will do like not all of them like
100% with that. Everybody should have
but
a bare necessity. They should have. Now,
but the
again,
thing is
you shouldn't
again, it
be
comes
able
back
to
down
just
to
go
where the
out
government's
and have
allocating their
400
spending though
fucking
too.
kids.
Okay,
Sorry.
both of you were speaking.
Sorry. Like, you
Oh,
shouldn't be
yes.
able to go out and have, I'm gonna have 300 kids, and now everybody's, the government's just gonna take care
Well,
of
that's
it
going
all.
into like the welfare queen stereotype, and that was
But if you have a family, then like a basic family,
Sure, thanks.
then what the fuck? They should be able to survive. Now, that may not be just through their direct job, That might have to be through government subsidies and shit. But, again, if the government can now, going back other times they've, frivolously spent money on all sorts of random shit. Now they're spending random money on people's.
You know how much money North Carolina saves by allocating an ass whack of their shit to just having inmates do it?
That's called slavery.
Yeah. 13th Amendment, by the way, or 14th, I think, technically is, whatever it is. Look it up.
It's like working off.
For all intents and purposes, those in the prison system are basically slaves.
No, but I think it's like working off their debt to society or some shit like that.
That's how they phrase it, yes. But
Yes. But...
In theory, they're not. It's not slave labor because they're getting.
Hot take.
They're getting hot take, hot mic, whatever. Fucking bleep this out. I don't care.
I don't
It's
think
not because they're living for free. They're getting their benefits for free.
No, they're not.
They're getting their meals for free.
No, they're not.
Well, most of them.
No, they're not.
If you're in jail for the rest of your life, you're not paying anything for anything. You're fucking dead.
Technically, you are.
Who? How? Nobody's paying shit.
Okay, first off, it's the taxpayers who are paying for it.
Taxpayers pay for everything. That's what I'm saying. They're
But
not.
second off, believe it or not, the people in jail have to pay an ass whack of money in a lot of things. Legal things. Believe it or
legal
not,
fees, that's
food
their
don't-
own shit.
For the most part, a lot of them don't get their food for free. The meal will cost them. The meal will cost them. They technically get taxed. It's like, no, it's not free to be a prisoner by any means. And it either comes out of us in our taxes or it comes out of them from their labor and stuff that they get paid way far less than minimum wage for.
Yeah, but that's. Again, they're working their debt to society. So
I don't think they're debts to society for being a drug deal, like for being a non-violent drug dealer, but that's a different story. But
Well, that's.
there are a lot of decent people in there who, in all honesty, either shouldn't be in there or shouldn't be in there for as long as they are for what they did. And trust me,
Maybe
as somebody
all right.
who dealt with them, I will tell you this personally.
The beginning of that part, I don't believe with. The end of that part, I do believe with. Do believe in. I don't believe in. Sorry. So
You don't believe in sorry?
for the most part, if they are there are some that are wrongfully convicted. There are a lot of people that are wrongfully convicted, but for the most part, statistics do show that if you were convicted, you probably did something wrong and you probably deserve to be there. Do they deserve the amount of time? Probably not. For most of the things they did, probably not. But
That's what I just said.
no, but that's what I'm saying. But you're saying that they don't belong there, period.
Some of them don't, yes.
There are laws that if you break, you end up in jail. That's why they have the laws. And if you break them, you deserve to go to jail. I smoke a shit ton of weed, right?
Now,
But
hold on. What about the people that are still in there because, but they shouldn't be now because the law's changed?
Well, then, yeah, then they should be reformed and that should be redacted and they should be.
Yes, but then they get
Out.
discriminated against on the outside and end up going back into a different style of life of crime and end up getting put back in for something else.
Yeah, the recidivism, we can go over recidivism and all that other stuff. That's like a completely
That's a
different
different
podcast
topic.
episode altogether, yes. I forgot what the initial point was.
What?
I forgot what the initial point was.
It was like
Oh, yeah,
why
so I
prison
guess-
is slavery,
so-
but that's a different. But
So, look.
that's also not getting into the racial disparity of it, which we should.
There's a
we
lot
really
of
kind of can't
look,
because
the
we-
the judicial system is fucked. It's completely fucked. We know this. We know that it's.
and we're
fucked.
not even getting into for-profit prisons too.
Well, as long as there are for-profit prisons and there are fucking privatized fucking people making money off of the prisoners, there will be this shit that's going on. 100%. There should be no way that me and you can own a fucking jail full of fucking prisoners. That's fucked.
I mean,
That's so fucked.
Don't get me wrong. After your 5th DUI, I think you should be in jail for a little bit, at least to get sober. At that
Longer than
point.
that. Longer than that. If you're on your 5th DUI, you haven't fucking learned.
Like obviously, like people, like once, like there's certain things that you should be incarcerated for certain periods of time, yes. But other certain things,
I'm a staunch believer of if you put somebody else's life at risk, then you then you just forfeit your own, like.
I mean,
As far as I'm concerned, if
but-
they sure,
though that's
but,
getting into
but
the
what
argument
I'm
about drug dealers and stuff
but
too.
what I'm
to a
but
certain
what I'm getting at
extent.
it, but what I'm getting at with that is, well, certain levels of drugs, I would say.
Like I'm saying,
if it's
fucking,
if it's shit that's easy and
you know,
if
I'm
it's,
not going to say the quote I was literally about to say because that would get me in trouble.
if it's shit that's
but-
easy to fucking
I don't
OD
think-
off of, then
I
yeah,
don't
they
think
should be
ju-
in there longer than somebody who's doing fucking. If somebody is taking opiates versus somebody who is pushing major amounts of opiates or cocaine or other
Well,
fucking
that's
drugs,
the thing.
like
we also incarcerate the people who are the fucking like the people on the drugs too. When we shouldn't be, we should be instead rehabilitating them, which is a whole different story. I mean, and you know, also to quote Carlin, I don't think we should be executing drug dealers. I think we should be executing the fucking bankers that are laundering the drug dealers' monies.
minimum wage. It's a hell of a topic that leads into many of things. This has been our first mostly political podcast.
I don't like it.
I don't like it, Daddy. I'm scared.
I mean, considering
we did
like,
history as well. I definitely touched upon that. So we still
the thing
loosely
is
stumbled.
inherently the history.
I think this is a great place to leave off.
We're
the
done
history-
here?
Whatever.
I
The
think
history
so.
of is inherently political, is what I was going to say. Anyway, we'll do our out.
Good
Oh,
night,
I thought we already did that shit.
Good night, people.
Good night, everybody.
We love you. Thank you for watching, Mom and Dad. Oh, no, I hope Mom and Dad didn't watch this.